On the Hawaii Pacific University campus at Aloha Tower Marketplace, here's your host, Hawaii Pacific University's Vice President and Chief Marketing Communications Officer, Jeffrey Rich.
Aloha, Sharks Nation. We are back live for another broadcast Thursday morning here on the beautiful campus of Hawaii Pacific University at Aloha Tower Marketplace. And we are live from the HPU Esports Arena powered by DSE Hawaii. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we are going to talk soccer this morning. And we have the men's soccer team with us this week. We're going to get into a deep dive. We've got two players and our head coach, Chris Fisher, with us. So let me start with introducing head coach, Chris Fisher. So a little bit on your background, Chris. So you're from Pleasanton, California. You are a graduate of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, which I didn't know was in the United States the first time I heard that name, and I'm wondering, where did that come from? If you didn't live in California, you may not be as familiar with it, but yep. Great school, great school. Great soccer team out there, too? Did you get
Yeah, we did well.
Successful?
We made it to the national semifinal, where I missed a penalty kick to knock us out.
Wow.
We won't talk about that.
But you played 4 seasons there, took the team to the professional ranks of outstanding college programs. You were a professional soccer player in France also. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of tooled around the lower leagues of the United States, and then I got the opportunity to go to France. I played in the 4th division over there. It was an eye opener, and I spent about 6-7 months over there in France.
Nice. And then you played back in California for the California Jaguars. Chico Rooks of the United Soccer League. I assume that's in Chico, California?
Sure is, yeah.
What do you think of Chico?
I loved it, yeah.
I spent a little time in that town. Yeah. It's kind of, I remember going to the Chico Farmers Market, and I think I saw Jerry Garcia about 20 different times around there.
It was interesting. Last night, one of my teammates from Chico Rooks, his son was the center back, the 6'5" guy, if you guys remember. And I hadn't seen him since we played together.
Wow.
In the day. So.
That's always great to see old friends and old memories. Wow. But you're heading into your 11th season here at HPU, is it?
It's actually my 14th.
14th?
I got update that one.
Well, that's a miss of 3 seasons. Wow. But you are a fixture here at HPU and have created one of the stable athletics programs that year in, year out produces great student athletes and outstanding results. So congratulations to you on building such a strong, prominent program. Let's introduce the players that you brought along with you today. So let me start. I'm going to introduce Cade Anderson. Cade, you are a transfer from Biola.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I graduated last year from Biola. I spent 3 years there, and so I'm doing my 4th and COVID season here at HPU.
Nice. That we've said it before on the show, but that's the silver lining from the pandemic is an extra year of eligibility or 2 for so many athletes to make a little bit more out of their college career.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough season, that COVID season. Like, I think we got 6 games at Biola, but it's sweet. You get a whole extra real season coming after your 5th year, get an opportunity to do grad school, so it kind of makes up for it.
Nice. Now, did I see you have a sister that plays there too, or is that...
I have 2 sisters. One of them played at Biola when I went there.
Okay.
She killed it during her years there. So
got it. So tell us, so what was your undergrad major?
Yeah, so I did an undergrad major in finance at Biola. I completed in 3 years because it's the only way I could afford it at Biola. And way too expensive.
And you're in a grad program now?
Yeah, so I'm getting my MBA here at HPU.
Nice. Yeah. So what are you thinking when you're out in the world and you're starting your career? What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't exactly know yet. That's why I kind of wanted to keep doing school and play soccer. I want to do something in sales. Most likely corporate sales or like international business.
Wow. Well, you're in the right program for sure. Getting an MBA is almost a prerequisite today to enter the business world.
Exactly.
For students listening out there, back in the day, you could achieve a lot in a professional setting in the business world, even without a bachelor's degree, then a bachelor's became sort of a baseline prerequisite. I would say today, if you want to enter that sort of a business sort of environment, you have to have an MBA or some sort of a graduate degree to compete, given the education levels that have elevated in the professional world.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you said, it is a prerequisite to get into the door of an interview, of a job market.
Yep.
yeah, it's just how it is today.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. But everybody listening out there, the value of education, it's the game changer. Let's introduce our second player, Dennis Dinyer. Now, Dennis, you are from Germany.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, and you're undergrad still?
I'm undergrad.
Okay, so you're majoring in?
Finance and economics.
Finance and economics. Okay, I was an econ major too. Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about growing up in Germany and what brought you to HPU. What got us on your radar?
It's obviously a different culture back home. I love it here, I would say. Soccer obviously brought me here. I was during COVID actually. Everything shut down in Germany even more than here in the United States. And then I heard about the opportunity to play here and pursue my academic career as well. And then me and actually my childhood best friend got offered the opportunity to play here. And I thought there's no better place than to come to Hawaii with your best friend, and that's how I ended up
Very
here.
nice. Was it your friend who found HPU, or what was appealing to you about the school?
I mean, it works through an agency in Germany that built a connection to different colleges, and then you talk to different coaches, and HPU was the college that we had the best feeling about.
Yeah, and that's, in terms of international student recruitment, it seems like so many of our students find their way through to HPU through the transfer portal in some cases, internationally agents that help us promote the programs that we offer in our athletics programs to students in school systems throughout Europe and Asia. So great. We're so glad you found us and you're here. Was the weather and the surfing beach culture appealing to you, or was it just the soccer program that?
No, of course. Hawaii sounded like a paradise. Back home, no one has really been here. When you talk to your friends and family, you only heard about it. So yeah, we obviously looked at some pictures and videos and thought, yeah, I could imagine living here.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
For those that are our listeners are out there, yes, it's all true. Hawaii is the most amazing place to live on the planet. The best weather, you can count on it. Sunshine, blue skies, beach, surf everywhere. It is absolutely a paradise, and I think we all feel very privileged to live here. All right, well, we'll get back to some questions, but before that, I want to introduce our sports information director, Marcus Dawal Jr., who is with us. We'll be providing some updates on programs. Marcus, how was your week?
It was good. Last Thursday, amazing for men's soccer. We hung a 4-piece on Chaminade.
Yes.
And the crowd was packed. I've been in professional and college settings up and down California, but that was pretty special, just seeing all the kids out there. Beating a rival. I love beating a rival, and
especially Chaminade.
It was tough researching for this specific show, seeing Cade was from Biola, APU grad. So, but I'm excited to see what Cade does versus Biola. It's gonna be exciting this Saturday.
Cade, you got some special stuff for Biola here. You holding on to your best for that game?
It's a game I've been thinking about since I signed with HPU. It's obviously gonna be fun competing against all of my guys I've been competing with for the last 3 years. It's gonna be special. I hope to score a goal, but I honestly just hope to beat them.
Yep. Well, Coach, from your point of view, how's this team looking this year compared to other years? What are the strengths and weaknesses? How's the camaraderie and team chemistry?
It's been an interesting year, in the fact that I think that our results haven't gone the way that I think that we've hoped. But if you ask every player or anybody watching games, we perform really well out on the field, and soccer is just a funny game where sometimes the results don't go your way, and unfortunately those results have not gone our way more than they have. So, but culturally, and I think these guys, we just want to see these guys succeed. And we talk about going in each game. We just want to do. We don't want to worry about the result. We just want to do the best we can on the field and go through the process, and the result will take care of itself. And we've got a few good results, but we're looking to get some more and finish off the season with.
So you've got a perspective on it as the coach. What about from the player side? What are you guys doing to continue to bond, to continue to develop chemistry and get in sync with each other? What are there some rituals or things you guys do as a team to develop that chemistry?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it's rituals, but I think it's just game time together. It takes time to build chemistry as a team. a lot of our guys, a lot of our new starters are transfers or first-year players. And so in a college program, it is just hard stepping on the field together and winning instantly. It's hard to score goals, and we've seen that in our team. It's especially against other teams that have played together for 3-4 years. So we're just looking to get game time together, build chemistry in games, in practice, that sort of thing.
Yep. Well, hey, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I want to keep talking about the season, the team chemistry. We'll talk about what's looking ahead in terms of your games. We'll get an update from Marcus on other HPU sports and activities and goings-on. But I'm glad you're with us this morning. Again, another incredible Hawaii morning. I'm Jeff Rich. I'm your host for Sharks Weekly. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back on Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, FM 95.1 and AM 760. And don't forget that you can catch all of our Sharks Weekly broadcasts by visiting hawaiisportsradio.com/sharks-weekly. And this year we've rolled out something new. You can catch our shows on YouTube. The links are there on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network website. But if you want to see what goes on in the studio while we have all this fun and talk sports, check that out, and you can see who's making all the news this morning. But let's come back to men's soccer. So we've got head coach Chris Fisher with us, and we're talking about the season. You guys are starting to sort of meld and get chemistry. We were talking during the break, though, that you hit a milestone last year, your 100th win, as 14 years now we've established in terms of your tenure here. That's quite a milestone.
Yeah, I mean, it's you stay long enough, I guess you'll reach the mark. But I mean, it's more of a testament to all the players that have come through the program and all the assistant coaches that have come through. So it was more about them than me.
Chris, when you think back to that, that first and second season, maybe here at HPU, or even in your coaching career in general, but look at where things are today. What stands out as most different, today versus then? What's different about the students? Are they different coming in? Or, the program different? Have you learned as a coach to refine, practice schedules and things?
Yeah, I think it's the student athlete these days. It's a little bit different than 14 years ago, and so. As I'm getting older, they stay the same age, right? And so it's just adapting to the different needs of the current student athlete.
Yeah. What's the most striking difference, though, you've seen in students today? Is it the impact of social media and sort of the more sort of isolated feel that I think your generation maybe has than previous generations that didn't have that ability to connect without being face to face all the time?
Yeah, I think now they just need they need to be heard. I think, and I'm there to listen to them and hopefully provide what's needed from them. I think 14 years ago, it was, I don't know if they're more independent back then. It just didn't seem like, or maybe it was me as a coach where, I would just say, this is what needs to be done and I'll do it. And now I think I listen to the student athletes more than I probably did back then.
Yeah. And you guys as players, how do you approach, practices, for example? Is there are there things that you guys take initiative on as players in terms of training, chemistry building, but things that aren't really specified by the coach, but you go and take initiative on yourselves to build better chemistry, to create better results on the soccer field?
I wouldn't say we have specific rituals. We try to get together besides the field as a team, to go to the beach, especially with we have a pretty new team this year, so to get to know each guys. It's hard with everybody's schedule, but we're trying to get together off the field as well. But the most time we spend together is on the field, at practices, before practice, sit after practices together and just talk.
Yeah. What favorite beach for the team when you guys do make it out?
It's the closest one, Ala Moana.
Yeah. That is nice and convenient. So what's the biggest challenge that you guys are facing, you think? If you think about hurdles to overcome, is there any particular adversity that you're facing that you think is something that you can rally behind this year?
I would say the biggest difference from my years before is that we have a new team. So it is that we have the chemistry-wise off the field, but on the field as well, to see how everybody works, how people connect with each other. I think we only have 2 starters from last season that are starting this year. So we have a pretty new team that I think was the biggest obstacle to overcome.
Wow, so only 2 returning starters. Do you have a lot of players that this is their last year, so they're moving on?
Well, like Dennis, to his credit, he's coming back from an ACL injury, and another player, current starter, Yuya, plays on the opposite side of him, coming back from an ACL injury. So they were out last year, but they were starters the year before.
Okay.
And they've made tremendous progress. To credit to them.
Yeah, it was a tough time for you and me, being out for so long. I've had 2 surgeries last year, but it's good to be back on the field. I definitely needed some time to adapt, and I think you as well, to get back into the game, getting mentally ready to go into tackles and everything.
Yeah. So you'll have a fair amount of returning players next year, so the investment into chemistry building this year probably pays off.
Yeah, guys like Leandro and Dennis, we're still discussing if he's got the COVID year next year. And so that's
I'll plug
conversation we're going to have
an extra year and get that master's degree. Right?
I have 2 more years after this.
So there you go.
Yeah.
So tell us about coming back from the injury. That's a severe injury. It's tough to come back from.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, definitely. And balancing school, rehab was not the easiest 2 semesters of my life, I would say. But I had a great team that supported me. I had coach looking after me. I had our physical trainer, Haley. I was working very close, was driving me to the surgery, driving me home, getting the equipment I needed to get ready. And I felt like I was in good hands. And then it's just day by day trying to go to rehab and go through the pain and have the goal to come back on the field and play again.
Wow. And that can be a full-time job in and of itself, just rehabbing. Boy, I'm curious. For our listeners out there, we probably have some young listeners that are thinking about, playing a sport in college. What does a typical week look like for you guys? When you think about, your focus on your academics, your practice schedule, but, kind of give us a sense of, how the week flows and the demands on your time to be both a student, athlete, as well as an academic-focused student.
Yeah, so as a grad student, it's kind of different because I'm taking all online classes right now. So I'll speak to a little bit of my undergrad experience.
Okay.
But it's busy during soccer season, especially. You usually have practice every day, but you're usually just thinking about the 2 games you have that week. It's hard to focus on class. I'll be the first one to admit that. But yeah, you usually have a day full of classes. You go to practice, you got to get your 3 meals in, and then it's going to the ATR for recovery. It's very busy during soccer season, but it's 100% worth it because you spend however many years with these guys you play soccer with, and you build a brotherhood like no other, honestly. Soccer season's the best time of the year, 100%.
Yeah.
Off season, it's a little more chill. I'm guessing here you go to the beach a lot more. I was in LA, so you would go to the beach quite a bit too. But off season is kind of tough as well because you're doing a lot of conditioning, you're doing a lot of weightlifting, and you're practicing a couple times a week as well, still trying to do school. But it's different because you're not playing any games, so it's kind of tough mentally, just the grind of off season.
Yeah. And Dennis, from your point of view, do you guys, aside from your focus on soccer and athletics and Bonnie, are you guys working together, in study groups and things? Do you support each other on the academic side, or is it really focused more on the sport and staying, in shape and getting prepared for the games?
I would say we help each other off the field as well, especially if you have a class with a teammate, and you obviously, if there's a group project, you do it together, you guys know each other, and you can rely on your teammates. So definitely off the field we help each other out, especially if you have the same major, same classes.
Got it.
I think the older guys help out the younger guys with what classes to take, what professors to that are good, maybe that are a little bit more difficult as well.
Is there a strong, sort of mentorship aspect to the team with some upperclassmen helping, maybe some younger, newer folks? Is there, or is it, you guys you're on a level playing field and you're all at it together, driving forward together, or do you have sort of a, hierarchy or a mentorship sort of strategy in place?
I mean, we don't have really a hierarchy in place. Obviously, for new players coming in, especially if they're not from the island, we're trying to show them how life works, because it's different than on the mainland, or for internationals different from wherever they are from, and show them how life works here, how the culture is, how to go through here, and how the school works. But every school is different, and definitely tell them maybe what classes are good to take during soccer season, which maybe are better for the off season.
Yep. Yeah. Perfect. Well, Coach, so what's ahead this week? What do you guys have going the next couple of days? You've got some games coming up.
Yeah, well, the boys got a day off today. I think Cade and I are going to go watch Biola playing over at Chaminade this morning. So we'll go scout them, and then we got Biola on Saturday evening, which they're the defending Pac-West champions.
Wow. So, a team that you're prepared for, right? As we've been saying.
Yeah,
game you circled on the schedule.
100%. I know how all those guys play, and there's a lot of good players on the team. So it'll be a fun game.
Is that rivalry, to the point of Chaminade, or when you guys get out there with Chaminade, it's really okay, we know each other. There's extra incentive to.
I think Chaminade, the guys, they see each other off the field, right, around town and stuff, and so I think it's just that pride thing of that's a game that we circle that we should win, and we usually do, and so it's kind of more of a relief, I think, when we beat them.
When we beat them is the key, right? When
Correct.
We beat them.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, well, let's see. We are talking men's soccer today on the campus of Hawaii Pacific University at the DSE Esports Arena. It is another beautiful day, and we are also with our Sports Information Director, Marcus Dawal Jr. Marcus, I want to bring you back into the conversation, and I want to talk a little bit about some of the things happening more broadly in athletics, and tell us what's happening with other sports. Any updates?
Oh yeah, so there's plenty of stuff going on right now. So we have Debbie Snell, our athletic director. She's traveling to Fresno for the Pac-West Cross Country Championships. APU's favorited to win, but personally, I hope they lose. But I hope our Hawaii Pacific, we're not projected to be in the top 3 this year, but I think with any team going to a competition where you have to be realistic, hey, it's not our year this year. But I think going into a championship like that, you just have to have the mind that you're going to disrupt things. You got to
you be a spoiler.
Cause some chaos. And so I really hope both the men's and women's team just go in there just ready to compete and just cause some headaches for the top dogs there.
Yep. Well, all the pressure's off then, right? You can play that role and just go out and just let it fly, right? Well, hey, we got to take another quick commercial break here, but we're going to come back and continue to talk about what's happening in the HPU Sharks world of sports with our men's soccer team and our Sports Information Director, Marcus Dawal Jr. You are listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back.
Sharks Weekly on 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back broadcasting live from the HPU Esports Arena powered by DSE Hawaii from the beautiful campus of Hawaii Pacific University at Aloha Tower Marketplace here in Honolulu. We're talking men's soccer today. We've got head coach Chris Fisher and players Cade Anderson and Dennis Dinyer. And we were just starting to talk with Marcus, our sports information director here at Hawaii Pacific University. So we were talking about something that's in the works, and a lot of colleges, particularly like big D1 schools in football, have rivalries with in-state, schools, and they develop, some sort of a trophy or cup that kind of gets passed along. So we got something we're trying to get going here with HPU and Chaminade, I understand.
Yeah. So last week before the Chaminade game, I was like, we got to call it something. We can't just be like, oh, we're playing our crosstown rival Chaminade, and so I just started calling it the Honolulu Derby, just to give it a little nickname. And
the Honolulu Derby.
Yeah, because I saw it was Manchester Derby they got for Premier League. So I'm like, we got to call it something, And it worked out in our favor that we won. And so I think it'd be just great for both universities just to, add a little something to play for. And I think it creates a great product. I mean, for all the games I've seen for Chaminade and HPU, the crowds are just amazing. And so, people turn out, and I think it just adds to the competitive atmosphere, just having a little extra something to play for.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. You got to get some sort of a cup or trophy to pass along. All right, so our listeners out there, if you have ideas, send them into Marcus. Yes. So we're looking for ideas, people.
Yeah. There used to be a Hawaii Challenge Bowl with the soccer team. So
okay.
That would work.
All right, so all things bowl. We have to bring back.
Yeah.
Right?
No, we definitely gotta bring it back. And so I got a question for Cade though. So Biola grad, so you're facing Biola this Saturday. Who would you rather score a hat trick against, your alma mater or APU?
Oh, Biola, 100%.
Yeah.
And APU.
Oh yeah.
Why not both?
Okay.
No, one of my good friends is playing keeper for Biola, so it would be amazing to go put one in the back of his net.
So if you do score a goal this Saturday against Biola, what would your celebration be?
I was talking with some of my buddies, and I found myself on the bench a lot at Biola last year, and so I joked if I score against Biola, I'm going to go sit on their bench. But I'm not going to do that. I would get beat up. But no, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Do they view you as a traitor, jumping ship?
No. I graduated from there. It was a smooth
You did your time, yes. You're a proud alumni, right?
Yeah, I'm an alumni. So
they're going to come after you for money at some point.
Yeah.
So they better be nice to you.
Yeah, I might get two-footed by some of them, but no, I have good relationships with most of them. The ones that are still there. Yeah.
So while we're on the topic of celebrations, who do you think has the best celebration on the team, or who do you think has the worst one?
And what is the celebration? Yeah. All right, Dennis, you're up. No, you have a celebration?
No, I don't have a celebration personally. I think the most outstanding one we saw this season was from Sebastian Mejia. Yes. Was a little controversial, but I think
anything you can say on air or no?
Yeah, it's hard to describe it. I think you have to watch it.
Do we have video of this? This is the stuff we got to put out.
Are you talking about the Chaminade game?
Yeah, but against Chaminade. I think it was because we played against our rival Chaminade and put a little L on top of his head and showing it to
dance.
them.
What is that from? Fortnite.
Fortnite.
One of those Fortnite dances,
okay.
I think. Yeah. It's pretty popular, I think, throughout the soccer world. So I don't think it was that bad.
All right, well, let's go around the horn. If everybody had to pick their favorite celebration of some type, could be any sport, any player, give me something. Marcus, you go first.
I always think just because I hated it, the LeBron James, the stomp he would do after he hit a three, that would always just break my heart as a little kid. And so,
and he did it a lot.
Yeah, did it a lot.
For me, it was from Lionel Messi when he took off his jersey and showed it to the fans of Real Madrid.
Was that one of the first times that people had done that? Or
I think, he established it.
Okay.
And just showed them his jersey. I think it was a good move to do.
And now even the women players do that, right? Of course, they have something underneath there, but still, it's become a thing to do now when you score a goal.
I would say, on the other hand, the Ronaldo Sui is my favorite. So
I always enjoy a guy that can do a flip after a goal. It's always pretty impressive.
That is really cool to see. I have two, and I'll give you an old one and a contemporary one. The contemporary one is I'm kind of a football guy. I played football in college, and I loved the gritty with Jefferson and the Vikings, right? But my all-time favorite celebration, and I'm guessing you guys don't even know this, is you ever hear of Billy White Shoes Johnson?
Sure.
He played for a few teams. I think the Falcons maybe were, if I have memories first. Anyway, he did this thing, I don't know what you would call it. It was like, the Charleston, where you'd kind of go back and forth with your legs and, and he crazy white shoes, and man, he set the stage, and that was back probably in the late 70s. and 80s in the NFL when you could do anything with a celebration.
And it's crazy to wear white shoes.
Yeah, Joe Namath, right? He broke that mold. And of course, now everybody wants to wear black shoes. Well, I guess they're wearing colorful shoes. But the point is that, at least in the NFL, the celebrations and the dances, I think they started to call it the No Fun League because they banned a lot of that. Right. But it's part of the game, and it brings the excitement and energy back to it. And man, there's nothing better than seeing unbridled passion. Yeah. Did anybody see the clips of it was the Monday Night Football with the Cowboys and Chargers, I think it was, and they had this fan from San Diego. Her name was Marianne, and they had her. And for people out there listening, go Google this, because you will never in your life see as much of an unbridled display of passion and emotion as this poor young woman, as she first was elated when the Chargers scored, the game go ahead touchdown, and she's all over the place, and then they give up a field goal to lose it at the end, and I've never seen such dismay. It is really remarkable to see. Anyway, so this went viral, and it's been all over the internet the last couple of days. But
there was a soccer match in England, I think it was last week, I forget, it was a second division team, where they scored and they tied it up, and the away fans went crazy, jumped on the field, and then as soon as they got back in, the other team scored the winner. Game over.
Hey, we forgot, Paul, our in-studio producer here. You didn't give us your favorite celebration of all time.
So it's funny. I was going to step in and give my 2 cents, but I didn't want to overstep the boundaries. I'm a Knicks fan, so I always fell in love with the Carmelo Anthony 3 to the dome where he put 3 fingers and hit the side of his head. If I did have to pick one for soccer, I always loved when players, they score the goal and they'll slide on their knees towards the corner, whether it be towards the flag, past the flag, and really just kind of soak in the moment with the crowd. I find that moment so electric. I don't know if it's the slide because it's just a smooth move afterwards or what, but those are probably my top 2 celebrations if I had to go all celebrations and then also just one specifically for soccer.
Wow, and that is an iconic celebration. And I have seen that slide while somebody takes their shirt off at the same time. Now, that is the ultimate in soccer celebrations, probably.
Yeah, you're probably right there, where you get to combine a couple of celebrations in one, because that goes further than our No Fun League there, where you can't do any celebration.
Yep. And
you do multiple. You really get the crowd into it. Yeah, I like that point. It's a good point, Jeff.
Sometimes goes wrong when the field is too dry.
It's brush burn on the knees, I imagine. Huh? Wow. Marcus, what else is happening? Anything else fun, interesting, exciting happening in the world of athletics here at HPU?
So women's volleyball and women's soccer, they both, took a couple losses against Point Loma and Chaminade respectively. But I think what's interesting about teams like that, where they're going through rough patches this season, is just seeing how the players react to losing and then how they respond. And there's definitely a couple players like Marley Sandoval from women's volleyball. She's been electric despite the team's struggling up and down. And I think she's a sophomore, so I feel like it's really good for underclassmen to take this opportunity, hey, the season's not going the way it is, but I'm getting playing time, and so let me use this extra playing time I get to just further develop and build for the future. And then even in women's soccer, Mahina Ortiz, she scored this insane goal. I mean, the game was over, but she was just playing with some tenacity. You could, when you're down big, you can just kind of mail it out and just coast through the loss. But she was just playing lights out, and she's a senior, and I think that's really good too as well for the underclassmen. Playing their hearts out. You got your senior. It's not going to be here next year, but she's just setting the tone. Hey, this is what the standard is at this program, and so even though the season might be over, the standard is still there, and so
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot happening. It's a busy fall for sure. Interesting. So we are going to continue to talk about HPU sports here for a minute and take a break, and then I want to wrap up with a look ahead, Marcus, of what to expect and what HPU sports fans should be looking for. But before we jump into our last commercial break, I want to ask Coach Fisher a question. So, Coach, when you think about coaching when maybe the season isn't turning out like you expect, maybe you haven't had the wins, you're maybe not in contention, What's the key to keeping the team motivated? How do you keep them focused and energized when they're not really playing to, move on to a playoff scenario, but it's really about pride?
Yeah, I think these guys have it in them where they love the game and they have enough pride to where they're going to show up every game. And we keep saying it, if something doesn't go our way, we're not going to give in. We're not going to give up. We're going to keep going. And I think, as I said, the results haven't maybe gone our way every time, but there hasn't been one opponent, I don't think, that's outplayed us. And that's to these guys' credit. And I imagine the same for these next 4 games that we have to wrap up the season, that the results are going to come in our favor.
Yeah, and I think that's one of life's great lessons, whether it's in sports or the professional world. It's, showing up every day, giving it your all, being a collaborative team player, and even when the results aren't there, you're not accomplishing, what you intended. It's staying persistent and focused, and relying and trusting in each other that you're going to get there. It sounds like you've instilled that in the team, and you guys are pushing through that.
I hope so, yeah.
Nice. All right, we're going to take our last break here and then come back, and we're going to keep talking HPU sports. You are listening live to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. I am your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back. We were just talking about team chemistry and, support. And, lo and behold, one of your teammates kind of cruised by and we pulled him in here. Luca Argast is with us in studio. Luca, hello. Say hi.
Hi, everybody that's listening.
Luca, you are from Richmond, California, and an undergrad nursing major.
I am indeed.
Wow. Well, join the conversation here with your teammates. We were talking about the camaraderie of the season and how things are going. Any thoughts on what to expect here as we go forward with the season from your point of view?
I'm just really enjoying my time here with the team and everything. I mean, I like everybody on the team, so it's been a great season so far. No matter the record, I think it's been a really good season, and I'm looking forward. Hopefully, I heard earlier you guys talking about who's going to be here next year. I'm hoping to be here next year as well. So hopefully, we're looking forward to another great season next year as well.
Very nice. Well, we're glad that you could pop in and say hi. So we were kind of wrapping up with just kind of an around the horn on other things happening here at HPU. Marcus, you were giving us some updates. Anything else hit your radar this week?
Oh, yeah. So we're announcing today the 1998 women's volleyball team, national champions, are going to come November 12th. And so it's going to be a fun time. I think it's going to be great for just the community and the fans and the team itself to just rally together. We're giving away T-shirts. We have this video prepared for them. It's going to be a fun time. And so I encourage everyone just to save that date. And then also, just a lot of action this weekend. We got volleyball, we got soccer, and so it's beat Viola this weekend. So
yeah, that's the big game we've been talking about. What do you think, Luca?
Let's beat them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I want to, want to win every game. Let's beat
that's
Viola.
The attitude. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Nice. So any other sports that our listeners should be keeping an eye on here as we wrap up the week?
I think one of the most underrated teams this season is women's golf. I mean, they came off a tournament where they finished third in Sonoma at the Sonoma State Fall Invitational, and then this past weekend they competed at the Hawaii Collegiate Triangular and they won. And Shui Yen, I think that's how you say her name, she absolutely dominated. And I think this team, I've been looking through the record books. I don't think they have ever had multiple top 3 finishes in school history, and so this team is pretty special. I think they have a real shot of winning Pac West this year, and so excited to see how far they go.
Wow, very cool. And and I think is beach volleyball a new sport this year?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. So HPU has a great hardcourt volleyball history and legacy, but this year we're expanding to beach volleyball, which is a good fit for where we are here in Hawaii.
Oh, amazing! It's perfect, and it's gonna be really cool to see the different types of players we're going to bring in, because some players are here just play specifically beach volleyball because it's the same sport but different. It's 2v2, and so it's going to be interesting just to see the different dynamics and how Genic utilizes his players. But I mean, I've heard some of the recruits he's bringing in. It's going to look like an exciting team this year.
So if they play 2-on-2, then how many players are on the team, and do they have rotations? But how does it work in terms of the players getting game time?
So I believe it's the same format as tennis, where you have multiple matches going on, and it's like best of 7 or best of 5.
Okay.
And so.
Okay, yeah, I just think that is such a great sport for HPU to launch.
Oh, yeah.
You think about schools that have built their brand and developed notoriety for themselves in certain sports. Schools that if they didn't have maybe prominence in a certain sport, you would never have heard of them. Gonzaga stands out in the prominence of their basketball program. If they didn't have that success, I don't know that a lot of people would know about Gonzaga. Quinnipiac in hockey is another good example, where a more obscure school that doesn't get a lot of notoriety, but has really focused on a sport. HPU has strong athletics across the board, but soccer is a great sport for us. Some of the sports that other schools don't necessarily focus as much on, like volleyball, beach volleyball in particular, can be a great way to bring more students into our athletics programs.
Oh yeah, and it's been just such a fun time this past month. Getting to know the different teams here. And one thing I like about just like me and men's soccer is just their tenacity and their hustle. And I think that I feel like I have like the most non-biased. I worked at Concordia and I went to school at APU, and so I mean if I was a team and I was flying out to play HPU, I'm twiddling my thumbs on the plane like, dang, like if I want to win, I have to dog it out. And so it's going to be very exciting these next 4 games to watch these guys play. And I think they, like, the limited time I've seen them, I've been beyond impressed by their level of play and just their fight.
Yeah, and just by talking to you guys, I mean, boy, just great team camaraderie and chemistry. And it's exciting to see soccer really take off in this country. I grew up through most of my lifetime where soccer wasn't on the radar here. It just wasn't a popular sport. And I think it's on its way to becoming the most popular sport. It certainly is worldwide already, but when you look at the prominence of soccer, men's and women's soccer here in the United States, I mean, it is the sport that people are clamoring around, and it's just a wonderful thing to see the way other major sports in the United States, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, have developed these followings and these affinities from cities, and you see that now developing in soccer, and it's got to be gratifying for you guys as the sport that you picked to play, to see your sport get the kind of traction it's getting here in the States. Always probably the case in Germany, right? In England, you guys are soccer fanatics, football fanatics, right?
It was definitely a change to come here in the United States and see soccer is not the number one sport.
Is that perceived worldwide that the U.S. historically hadn't been as fanatical about soccer?
Yeah, we knew that. I knew that when I came here, but it was still surprising how small it was seen compared to the other sports. And then if you see in Germany, no one watches basketball really, and then you see here basketball is number 1, maybe number 2 sports in the country.
In Germany?
No.
Oh, here
in the United States.
Yeah.
In Germany, it's not a big thing. Maybe now after winning, I think, the World Cup, maybe it's getting more attention. But yeah, it's definitely a change.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the U.S. Women's World Cup championships and success in the Olympics really helped put it on the map. And I think that's what's interesting about soccer's development here is it was, I think, heavily driven by the women's side in our case.
Yeah, I think, our USA women's soccer was kind of the pioneers of women's sports almost around the world. So, yeah, they definitely led to a lot of interest in soccer over here. I grew up in the Bay Area of California, and soccer wasn't really that big, and then just the growth that it's had since I've been a kid. And now with Messi in town.
Yeah, and now you see this trend of celebrities buying soccer teams internationally. Was it Ryan Reynolds, I think, bought one? And that seems kind of interesting. Kind of novelty, I guess, huh?
Jeff, if you don't mind my jumping in here, I'm actually a little bit curious. We're talking about watching sports and the growth of soccer and the growth of HPU in general. And I sit here and I think back to the conversation earlier in the show about your guys' ability to connect with each other for the chemistry. Is there another team that you guys have found their events are most fun to go to together? Is there a team or a sport that you guys have really enjoyed in your time here at HPU going to their events, or is it too difficult as a student athlete to kind of go support other teams and handle your schedule?
I think that's got to be a Dennis question, since these 2 guys are new.
So in terms of team supporting us, the best team supporting us was always the baseball team. If they come, they're loud, they support us, they cheer us on, they do a little shit talk to the other team. It's always good to have them. Personally, we as a team, we watched a softball game that was interesting to watch. I went to our women's tennis team is very good, so I went there for the regionals, and it was good to watch as well.
Is there a kinship with women's soccer where you guys support each other? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Like last year, we played always after them, so we were always there at their games for the second half and could watch them. Now it's the other way around, so they're at every game of us because they play right after us.
Nice. Well, you can tell by the music that we are hitting the end of another Sharks Weekly. I just want to say thank you to our guests, men's soccer, head coach Chris Fisher, Cade Anderson, Dennis Dinyer, and Luca, our guest, and of course our SID in the athletics department, Marcus Dawal Jr. We want to thank everybody for listening this morning. Remind that you can always stream our podcast or now watch it on YouTube. We'll be back next week with another great discussion. So please have a wonderful week. Support your HPU athletics programs. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will talk with you next week.